Hello and welcome to News Round on Channels Television, a recap of stories in the week. I'm Anne Nwawado. The headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari issues stern warning to attackers of public assets as Independent National Electoral Commission INEC prepares for 2023 elections. Federal government suspends Twitter operations in the country indefinitely after microblogging platform pulls down message from President Buhari's page. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says Nigeria's constitution falls short of standard, asks citizens to participate in review process. Plus, Belarus's opposition leader and activist calls on European Union, the United Kingdom and US to jointly pressure President Lukashenko. News Round begins with a stern warning by the president to those whom he says are plotting to destroy the country, saying they will soon receive the shock of their lives. President Buhari issued the threat against the backdrop of the worries expressed by the Independent National Electoral Commission as it prepares for the 2023 general elections and some off-season polls. It follows the damage to INEC offices and assets in at least 14 states, where 42 of such incidents have been recorded.
It is very clear that they intend to make sure that this administration fails. I'm getting good intelligence report on daily basis. The question of insecurity in the country is being mentioned all over the world, not only here in Nigeria. But I believe there are Nigerians that will attempt at least to be fair by what I believed, that I will run the country according to the Constitution. Now, with all these people who want power, whoever they are, have they proved that I was not following the Constitution? Well, am I not leading the country according to the Constitution? What do they want? So whoever wanted diversion or destruction of the system at this point, I think will soon have their shock of their lives. I think we have given them enough latitude. They have made their case. They just wanted to destroy the country. Simple. Because what do they want? And we are concentrating on infrastructure because no country or institution can be developed without infrastructure. Now, for those of us who are unfortunate to be in the field for the 30 months of the Civil War, to see the carnage of how we kill ourselves, at least 1 million people, I think those that are misbehaving, they were either too young, they didn't know what happened. But for those of us who went through all these things, we can't understand. So we will treat them in the language they understand. So I feel for your understanding and so on. We are going to be very hard sooner than later. We have done our best to change the service chiefs and the IG. We allow them time to go around to make necessary changes for them to be firmly in charge. We'll try and give them the resources they require, and we will demand security sooner than later. I thank you very much for your presentation. I assure you that this administration will do whatever we can do for you so that we don't give anybody excuse to blame us that we don't want to go or want to have a third term.
President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, the federal government has wielded a big stick on Twitter over the decision of the microblogging and social networking platform to take down the warning from the president to those it says are destroying government assets. The federal government has consequently suspended Twitter's operations in Nigeria indefinitely. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, announced a suspension in a statement issued in Abuja, citing the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence. The minister says the federal government has also directed the National Broadcasting Commission to immediately commence the process of licensing all social media operations in Nigeria. In the meantime, the spate of insecurity remains a concern to the president, who has now mandated the newly confirmed Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, to do everything possible to significantly reduce the rise in cases. President Buhari gave the directive to the police chief after the Nigeria Police Council confirmed Mr. Baba as a substantive Inspector General of Police after acting in that capacity for 2 months.
President Muhammadu Buhari presides over the meeting of Police Council at the First Lady's Conference Room. As usual, he is joined by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, members of Cabinet, heads of security agencies, governors and other members virtually. At such meetings, the Acting Inspector General of Police is expected to receive confirmation. In a briefing afterwards, indeed, the Minister of Police Affairs affirms the approval of Council.
Fortunately, the Council, because of the track records of service of the appointee, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba Alkali, was unanimously confirmed as the Inspector General of Police for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Mr. President used that opportunity to congratulate him for this appointment and to call on him to ensure that the confidence that Nigerians have reposed in him is not left to waste, that he should wake up to the challenge and ensure that the security challenges that this country is facing are brought to the barest minimum.
The Inspector General of Police had earlier briefed the Council on the threats to national security and some of the efforts underway to stem the menace.
What is seriously worrisome in the southeast is gradually being checked, and results is very positive as to the attacks and killings on security agents, assets belonging to federal government, particularly that of the military, the police, INEC, and so forth. Our ability to checkmate this lawlessness has improved, and we are getting closer to something positive.
The police chief also makes clear that allegations about the invasion of foreign herders in the southwest would be thoroughly investigated. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
To other stories now, the 1999 constitution, which Nigeria is currently operating, has also dug up controversies among political watchers, especially now that the two chambers of the National Assembly have agreed to effect some amendments. At the opening of the House of Representatives public hearing in Lagos, the Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, said the constitution falls short of standard and needs to be adjusted to meet the aspirations of Nigerians.
And the chairman, Southwest Lagos Center.
A nation's constitution is the foundation of its existence. It is supposed to set the terms of our nationhood and define who we are in a manner that reflects both our common truths and highest aspirations. Our constitution falls short of this standard because the 1999 constitution is the product of a hurried national compromise that we entered into 2 decades ago in order to ensure that the military returned to the barracks and that we returned to democratic government. It was always the intention that we will one day, as one people and one nation, return to amend this document so that it gives voice to the yearnings of the Nigerian people and sets out in clear detail how we intend to achieve the shared ambitions of our nationhood. Providence has cast upon the 9th National Assembly the responsibility to write such a constitution for the Nigerian people. Yes, there is no perfect document, but we need a near-perfect constitution in Nigeria. We can achieve that through substantive amendments that significantly alter the character of our nation. Therefore, the task before us now is to use this process of review and amendment to devise for ourselves a constitution that resolves the issues of identity and political structure, of human rights and the administration of government, resource control, national security, and so much else that have fractured our nation and hindered our progress and prosperity. Our job is to produce a constitution that turns the page on our past, yet heeds its many painful lessons. It is not an easy task, but it is a necessary and urgent one.
Meanwhile, the Senate National Public Hearing on Constitution Amendments kicked off in the capital city with various individuals and interest groups representing their positions and presenting them on a wide range of issues to amend the 1999 Constitution. The National Assembly, on its part, is now assuring that it has no preconceived ideas and it will ensure the final product reflects the input citizens have made to the process.
Months of preparations, including receiving memoranda from Nigerians and zonal public hearings, is culminating in this national public hearing on Constitution Amendment taking place in Abuja, the capital city. Amending the Constitution could not have come at a better time than now, when the country is pulled apart by pervasive security problems, questions on nationhood, agitations for secession, endemic unemployment, and confidence in government at an all-time low.
I wish to assure you most sincerely that this committee will be guided strictly by best legislative practices, highest ethical standards, integrity, open-mindedness, and patriotism.
There are more than 16 areas identified by the public for amendment. They include gender equity, power devolution, local government autonomy, state police, judicial and electoral reform.
We also know that the issue of local government reform is an important issue. The local government system in the country has almost collapsed. We believe that the efforts that the National Assembly made in the 7th and 8th Assembly will be brought to fruition by this 9th Assembly.
The 6th National Assembly actually saw the flaw in the current laws. However, if it is made a constitutional provisions, then in my view, the courts will have no option but to obey it. So that where an election is nullified, they cannot then go and pick number 2 or number 3 or number 5 as the winner, but must ask the voters to go back and vote.
We are deeply concerned at the poor state of women's representation across all elective and appointive positions in Nigeria. We therefore call for the creation of special seats for women in the national and state legislatures.
26 federal states across the world, including the United States of America and Germany, who have practiced federalism for over 200 years, have minimum wage preserved in their national laws. In our document, those issues have been made very clear.
But there have been persistent calls for the creation of a new constitution, as some Nigerians question the efficacy of the 1999 constitution in addressing the structural challenges facing the country. Opinions are divided on this matter.
Call for a big tent conversation around the single issue amendment for a referendum and a referendum commission for our deliberation on a new constitution for the country.
I don't support that one for us to get a new constitution. As a matter of fact, this constitution that we operating, what is bad in it?
Amendment, as far as I'm concerned, is as good as bringing something new in the constitution.
Well, there's nothing bad in inserting a referendum in the standard constitution. It could be there, but you cannot run a country in a vacuum. We must use what we have to get whatever anybody is asking for.
Amending the constitution is a tough process, and consensus would have to be built on all the areas up for amendment, both at the national and state levels. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
And when News Round returns in just a moment to find out what the Independent National Electoral Commission is saying about insecurity and violent attacks in the country. Stay with us. Welcome back. Insecurity and violent attacks on facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is a major concern for the Commission as it prepares for the 2023 general elections. And that's why officials of the Commission from across the country converged on Lagos to brainstorm on the techniques and strategies towards the polls.
Locked up in this room are directors, administrative secretaries of INEC across the country and some INEC consultants. It is a retreat to design the 2022-2026 strategic plan and strategic program of action, documents that will help the umpire drive its vision for about 5 years. It is the opening day of the retreat, and the agenda is crystal clear for the team as INEC is faced with a daunting challenge at the moment amidst the task of conducting free, fair and credible elections.
Part of what will be discussed today in this meeting is what is happening right now to some of our local government offices, and it is our desire to ensure that we incorporate all these things into the strategic plan.
Nigeria is huge, and the country is perhaps the most populated country, black country in the world, and therefore having elections here has its own unique challenges. But we are working with INEC with our support to ensure that they plan well and implement well.
Considering the recent attacks on INEC facilities in some parts of the country, there are fears of the effect on the forthcoming Anambra governorship elections.
Similar incidents in the past, for instance, that of Ondo State, where some card readers were burnt, were able to make amends, and we conducted the elections without an hitch. As for Anambra, I can assure you that we will conduct that election without any problem.
INEC is admitting its past failures. 2019 taught the Commission a big lesson as logistics posed problems. But in this retreat, how does the umpire hope to avoid a recurrence?
Logistics is a major aspect of election planning, and we certainly work towards avoiding the pitfalls we fell in 2019.
So how are you doing that? How do you hope to do that, to fix that?
We identify the pitfalls first of all, and then attack them one by one and see how we go.
Nigerians might be seeing new innovations in future elections, but what are these?
Diaspora voting, essentially, the Commission has been ready for that for quite a while, except that the legislations have to be amended and so on. We wait and see how they unfold. We have innovations, technological innovations. We are thinking of the EVM machines, as we are aware.
The retreat continues, and a lot is expected from the umpire by the electorate. INEC knows this. Anambra governorship election will be a window to show what the Commission is capable of doing. Shunwaki Maloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
Some residents of the 5 states of the southeast region observed the sit-at-home directive issued by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra in honor of those who lost their lives in the civil war. From Abia, Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi and Enugu states, major streets were deserted with shops, businesses and other offices under lock and key.
For a Monday morning, Abakaliki-Enugu Express Road in Ebonyi State will have been a beehive of commercial activities. But now, it's almost completely deserted. Same for Vanco Junction by Ogoja Road. it's an empty street except for 1 or 2 vehicles and passers-by. It's all in compliance with the sit-at-home order by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB.
Time of the day.
There is full compliance to the order in Anambra State. The usual hustle and bustle at Aroma Junction along the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway is absent. Banks, motor parks, schools and other business outlets are all shut.
I come to collect money for ATM to get what I want. To buy food stuff for my house. That is what make me come out.
The road leading to the government secretariat is also deserted, with no vehicles or even people in sight. The Anambra Police Command is not taking things for granted. Armed policemen are in their combat-ready position.
Generally, if you look, everywhere is so deserted. But first of all, I must commend the Anambra State Police for ensuring, at least some essential workers that are out to still carry out their duties, like hospitals. At least the workers freely, have access to their workplace.
In Enugu, Ogui Road, leading to the main market, is also deserted. The mood is nothing different in Imo State. Weathero Road would have at this time been busy, but not today. The streets are empty in Abia State. Delta is in the south-south zone of the country, but the order seems to be having an impact here. Although there's free vehicular movement, some of the shops are under lock and key.
What is happening actually is happening across the Niger. But everybody will have to run for his dear life because life does not have duplicate. So what we are seeing today is as a result of fear. People don't want to come and put their life at risk. That is why you are seeing the market empty.
Even banks are not left out. Some customers hang around hoping to access the banking halls.
I'm here for transaction. I want to withdraw money. Since I came in over 45 minutes, I was not allowed to enter the bank.
While the order has paralyzed all shades of activities across the southeast of the country, work is expected to resume from tomorrow, Tuesday, June the 1st, 2021.
And in Kwara State, civil rights activists are demanding justice for Blessing Olajide, an undergraduate of the University of Ilorin, reportedly raped and killed by yet-to-be-identified persons. The 300-level agricultural student was said to have been raped and murdered in her house at Tanke on the University Road, an incident the right activists describe as one too many. Meanwhile, the state government has promised to get to the root of the matter and ensure the arrest of the perpetrators. A news round ends in Belarus, where fellow activist and opposition leader Stilvena thinks that the US, the United Kingdom and the European Union should act jointly to put more pressure on the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko and his government. Her comments are coming during a one-day visit to Warsaw, where Poland, ahead of the G7 summit in Britain next week. She also says the Belarusian government has become more concerned about security since the Ryanair incident, but it will not deter opposition activists from carrying out their work.
But I have to say that pressure is more powerful when countries are acting jointly. And we are calling on this UK, the USA, European Union, Ukraine have to act jointly so their voice will be more loud. I think that everybody's in danger now, but we have to move forward.
More so in danger since what happened with the plague with Roman.
I think that we started to pay more attention to security, but again, this is strategy of regime to frighten people, to feel them uncomfortable, to reduce their work possibilities, but people who are working there continue to work, they continue to fight.
And that's News Round for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Wawadu.